Hey guys, that Anoniji here. Today I'm back with another video on the ExpressJS series, and it is the third episode. And today we will be doing a registration route, and I will show you some things such as hashing, how to hash your passwords before saving it to the database. For that I'll be using bigcrypt.js, that is npm library, and I have installed it here. It's an npm I bigcrypt, and it's installed. I am gonna quickly go ahead and import it. So require this and bcrypt and oops, okay. Now I'm gonna import some functions here. So that is, first is hash, and then we have compare will be used for comparing your hash against the user input password, but I'm not gonna be using that. So we have the passwords here, and no, I don't need to remove that. And let's quickly hash the password. Constant hashed password is gonna be hash, and this returns a promise, so we will obviously need to uh, await this, because I'm already using promise router, so I can use async here. And okay, now it's done, and the hash takes in some arguments. That is, first is the user input, that is the data, and that will be, I think, body.password. But here we don't check if the user inputted all the things such as the username and password, because these are generally checked on the front end, and generally you will have a validator which will make sure that the user has put in all the things before just going ahead and sending the request to the server. But for the ID, I will not take the ID from the front end, because I don't want the ID to be generated on the front end, the client side. So I'm gonna generate it on the back end, and for that I will quickly make a function, function gen ID, and this will return a string. So constant, I will call it, let's say, use use chars, use characters, and this will basically be all the characters in the English alphabet. QWERTY UIOP XAVBN. Okay, so let's see, there are 26. Yeah, 26. And I will also do the capital ones for the same. Right, now I'm also gonna do the digits, that is 0 to 9. And let's also use dot, dash, and underscore. Okay, so these are the characters that will be used when the ID is generated. So basically it will be alphanumeric one, and I'm gonna return, and I'm gonna use add a dot from, and it will have a length. The length of the ID will be 16 characters, and the ones that will be used will be math dot random. Okay, so math dot random will give us a random number, so that will help us index the use characters constant randomly. So I'll use characters, and I'm gonna be indexing it using the bracket notation. And math dot random will be multiplied by use characters dot length, and I will also need a math.floor, because while indexing a string I cannot use floating numbers, that is decimal points cannot be there. I need to use integers, so I'm gonna do math.floor. Now I will get a random string that will have the characters from this string. Cool. Now I can use gen id to get a string real quick, and I'll oh, and I need to do another thing, that is join up the array using the join function, array.join function. And now I can use the function over here that, well, okay, now this will give me a random string for the user id. Cool. Now I'm gonna destructure this just to make my life easier and not use body.username everywhere. Username, password, and I will hash the password using password. And okay, so how many salt rounds can we do? I think 10 will be fine. And salt round is basically, it will generate a salt string that is normally a random string with the and random string, but it is cryptographically secure, and it will be used along with the password, and that will give us a really random string, a really random hash per se, not string really. So username will be username, and the password is gonna be this time hashed password. There you go. Now I can save it, and I will send for the response I will send the user object but not the password. Obviously I will send in the id. I won't send the username. Actually, never mind, I can send the username too. Okay, so I will make it like first let's send a message: generated profile successfully. And then I will send a user object which will have the username and the new user dot id. There you go. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this will be the response. And also let's go ahead and make a utils not a utils, yeah, a utils folder first. And then I'm gonna make a file called constants.js. From here I will export, actually I will have to do module dot exports. I will export an object, and that will have the http codes. So I will make the 201 first. Let's do created. I think it is, yeah, created is gonna be 201. And also let's put the success as well. Double C double S. Success is obviously 200. And there you go. Actually I will do one thing to make sure that this is always constant as it should be. I'm gonna do constant constants. And before um, giving it away, like before exporting it, I am gonna be doing object dot freeze constant sorry constants. This makes sure that no one can edit this object outside the file. I will do module dot exports oh, come on, constants. Yep, there you go. Now let's go here, new user, and I'm gonna import the constants object, and I will be using a status function here, response.status, and that will be constants.http codes dot created because this creates a new object on the new entry on the server. So I will be putting created as the status code for this, and I'm gonna send it. So now this should be working. What I will do is go ahead and run the server. uh, What am I doing? Okay, let's npm run script, and it will be dev. Cool. Okay, so the app should be online in a bit. Okay, there you go, the app is online. And oh, okay, so authentication failure. I'm gonna go back real quick and change my password, which I'm not gonna show on stream, obviously, for obvious reasons. Come on. Okay, so now that it is fixed, let's run the script again, and this time it should connect to MongoDB. Yep, there you go. Now I am gonna open Insomnia client and make the request real quick. Let's go here. Cool. And this will be to http localhost 3000 and and new user. Okay, now the body is gonna be a JSON body. Okay, now it's gonna have, let's see, username and password. So I'm gonna do that. Username. So the username is gonna be anything. Let's say that and on AG. And the password is gonna be my password. Okay, now I can make the request. So let's make the request and see if we get any errors. Send the request. Oh, we cannot get new user. New user was not found. Why? Hmm. So it couldn't find new user. I don't know if I made any error here, which it doesn't seem like I did. Oh, okay. So it was a get request. We need to make this a post request, not a get request. Yeah, now it actually created the user. We got a new ID, and the username was what I entered over here. But let's see if the password was hashed correctly. So I can go here, I can go in my compass and open up Express real quick, and I'll go to users. As you can see, there is one entry, and yeah, the password was hashed correctly. So we successfully created a new user registration route, and that also hashes the password securely and saves it to our database. In the next episode, we will be making a login route, and I will also show you how to use Webpack with this project, so that we can make one single bundle file, which is obviously easier for hosting the service, because instead of having to put this whole directory in your server, you can just put one single file. So that's for the next episode, and stick around, and we will see you later. And as usual, you can find this code on GitHub, so check out the link below in the description, which will lead you to the repository.